Good morning to everyone. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. Thanking you for joining us this morning, especially those of you who are subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of Agenda on One News PH, channels 8 and 250. And of course, thank you to all of you who catch us on facebook.com/One News PH and of course, on YouTube as well. Thank you sa mga nag-text, sa Colonel Max Mejia who follows us in our morning show as well as in some of my part-time stints. Okay, thank you very much. Welcome. And today, September 8, 2022, it's a Thursday. Let's go on with our daily starter. For today's daily starter from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 25, para sa inyong tigang, pagod, sagad, said, I will refresh the weary and satisfy the faint. I hope you take this to heart because lahat po tayo tao lamang. We wear out kung yung gulong nga, kahit na ano pang tatak, napupudpod, kayo pang tao. So please make sure that you take breaks, take a rest, and go and read the Word of God to refresh you. Okay, let's go quickly to the front page of the Philippine Star. We will just do a run through this morning because we have two guests to tackle a matter of national concern and an issue related. Hindi po ito national security in sense of mga military. Our national food security is at risk. No one seems to pay a lot of attention to it, but we on Agenda, that will always be our attention dahil ayoko pong mamatay tayong gutom at nakadilat ang mata. Okay, let's go to the front page. Philippine Star, the IATF backs optional masking outdoors. Okay, mukhang luluwag na, hindi na masyadong papansinin o papayagan na. The IATF is supporting calls for no mask in public spaces. Although that seems to be more there will be more discussion on the matter because ang tatamaan, of course, tayong mga matatanda at may mga tama. Okay, kung may mga comorbidities daw at senior citizens and at risk, hindi daw dapat payagang no mask. Okay, and at the top of the front page, SIM card registration, no silver bullet versus spams and texts. Okay, sabi ng opisyal ng NTC that the SIM card registration, a law on SIM card registration will be helpful, but it will not end. It will not kill the werewolf, the Dracula of cold spams and text messages. Okay. Meanwhile, related to the subject matter of food security, fisher folk warns of fake sardine shortage. Hindi po peking isda, peking kakapusan ng isda. Yun po, no? They are warning that there are interest groups, shipping, fishing companies, and manufacturers who are fanning the fears of a shortage in order to increase the prices on canned sardines and to allow the large boats of fishing companies to enter the 15-kilometer radius of municipal waters. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Commission on Election and the chairman of the Civil Service Commission have been cleared by the Commission on Appointments. Kumbaga, they have been given the stamp of approval so they can now serve in their respective offices officially. Storm enters Philippines, may intensify into a typhoon. It entered the Philippine area of responsibility 3 p.m. kahapon, yesterday, and its name will be, or it is called Tropical Storm Inday. However, Pag-asa says it will not make a landfall, but it will give you a lot of rainfall. Okay, below that story, we have a photo of drug convict and death row prisoner Mary Jane Veloso, clad in traditional Indonesian attire, taking part in a program in Indonesia because the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Enrique Manalo, has requested his counterpart to please submit or consider an appeal for clemency from the Indonesian Department of Justice and the President of Indonesia. Meanwhile, the Population Commission has reported that there were 879,429 deaths in the year 2021, making it the deadliest in Philippine history. And still related to agriculture, garlic, cabbage oversupply, the Department of Agriculture exec blames farmers. According to Senior Undersecretary Domingo Panganiban, the blame is on farmers for the oversupply of garlic and cabbage, for not having foresight on the market for their produce. Nako, eto na po tayo. Nagkakasisihan na, does that really help? I will not take sides, but I will point out one thing. Blaming others for what is a collective concern will ensure our collective failure. Uy, pwede natin gawing daily starter yon. Okay, HDO SOT versus Brain in Pharma CEO's murder. That is a whole departure order is being sought against the suspect in the murder of a pharmaceutical company CEO. And last pieces of news, the photo at the bottom of the Philippine Star, President Marcos shakes hands with Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong in Singapore yesterday, looking on our Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo and House Speaker Martin Romualdez, and that photo of the Dendrobium, orchid buyan, Dendrobium Ferdinand Louis Marcos, named after President and First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos during a naming ceremony at Singapore's National Orchid Garden yesterday. Last but not the least, Singapore wants more Philippine healthcare workers. Okay, ayan po ang mga balita. Those are the front page news of the Philippine Star today, September 8, 2022. The time is 8:09. Let's now go to our discussion portion, our interview. Technically, it's supposed to be now just interviews, but from time to time, agenda has an agenda. And our agenda today is food security. Let's introduce our guests.
Adriel Dave Alvarez is a farmer based in the Camotes Islands in Cebu. In 2018, Alvarez was a member of the Global Farmer Network. There, Alvarez shared his story of helping out farmers in Cebu to become more adept to farming tools and technology available in the area. Fermin Adriano was the Agriculture Department's Undersecretary for Policy, Planning, and Research. He was the Information Director of the UP System and Vice Chancellor of UP Los Baños. Adriano also writes about agriculture-related issues in his column at the Manila Times.
Okay, welcome to the program, gentlemen. Good morning. Thank you for making time for the show. And I do hope both of you are feeling fine.
Thank you, Cito, for inviting me. Accepted
Okay.
it
Thank you.
because you have the most challenging questions among the interviewers. I find really difficult.
Actually, I don't have challenging questions. I just let the guests do the talking. Okay. Anyway, Ariel David or AD, I suppose. No, Adriel Dave Alvarez. Okay. So AD for short. Correct, AD?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
AD, I don't know how I came across your story, but because I really support agriculture. And I caught number one, you have BT eggplant farming. You were doing technology transfers to small plot owners, etc. Now, I think you were the one who said that Philippine agriculture is on top of a sinkhole. What
Yes.
exactly did you mean by that?
Thank you, Cito, for having us here, because it is crucial in every discussion on food security that farmer voices are heard. Meaning, there should always be included in the discussion, not only field expert but farmers. Now, I use Facebook always to ang tawag sa Bisaya magpautwas or maglabas ng mga saloobin, because as an observer of the farming industry in the Philippines, we are really keep on repeating the same mistake, and we're allowing those who are doing the leading to repeat those mistakes. And sabi ko, pag ganito, comparing it to other successful food system in agriculture in other places and other countries, ang layo ng ating sitwasyon. We're not providing a good agro ecosystem that for mag-thrive yung agriculture. And that's a dangerous thing, because eventually magka-crumble yung ating food system, and it's actually, kung hindi pa nag-uumpisa, we're trying to patch up palagi ng subsidizing our farming industry by giving equipments and seeds. We also try to import just to meet the gap. Pero we're not fixing the problem. We're not providing the right solution.
Okay.
I'm including myself, by the way.
Yeah, AD, just to be very pointed and just to fast track our conversation, what is your definition of an agricultural sinkhole?
An agricultural sinkhole is, ngayon we're still eating and we are able to provide. What if we can no longer import? What if magkatotoo na yung sabi ng wheat producing countries that they will no longer sell wheat because they will secure their own resources? So tayong kuha nun. That's only one example. Tapos our population is still increasing. The demand for food, because that's fundamental. Human existence, automatic food. But we're not prioritizing that. We're not providing our food system to be growing and be sustainable. Ayun ang mangyayari. Magka-crumble yung ilalim natin.
Okay, Yusek Fermin, I just want to, before I ask you the question or I invite you just to come in, I just want to clarify one thing. Are you still an undersecretary of the department, or have you moved on?
I moved on. I'm living a better life, quality life.
Okay. Hindi, naniniguro lang ako because I never want to put my guests in hot waters. I don't want to, compromise or put them in the spot. But anyway, you've heard what AD said, and you've heard what I read in the papers. The Pamalakaya group is saying, yung sinasabing shortage ng tamban, ng sardinas, peke yan. That's simply for the manufacturers to be able to increase their prices. And then the undersecretary, the top undersecretary now, is Domingo Panganiban, is blaming cabbage and garlic farmers for the oversupply. I respect you. You have a sharp mind. You know what you're talking about. What is the real picture here?
Thank you very much, Cito. First thing is that for canned sardines, we're actually importing most of the raw materials, or actually all of the raw materials practically for canned sardines. This is the mackerel. Okay. Secondly, how can they say that there is no real food shortage, fish shortage? On the basis of what? Is there an empirical evidence that they can cite? Do they have a methodology in terms of estimating that there's no fish shortage? Normally, if you are a scholar or evidence-based kind of analyst, you will look at the data, and the data that is accepted not only locally but internationally is the data derived from the Philippine Statistics Authority. The problem is that some of these people, they believe PSA data when it favors them. But if it against their theory or ideology, they do not believe it. That's a problem. I think the fundamental basis, let's set it, ano ba yung datos natin na official data? And for us, as researcher, and this is accepted internationally,
but Fermin,
official data.
Yeah, so sorry Fermin, I have to come in every now and then. And AD, you're also welcome to come in if you have a question or a point. Fermin, I respect that. I like research. I like data-driven policies, etc. But you can't deny the fact that in some cases, or if not many, the PSA or government data is either several weeks behind when it comes to number of deaths in a typhoon, or several years late when it comes to statistics of the PSA. And in terms of agriculture, you've been there, you write about it. How up to date is our data, our research and data gathering for agricultural data?
So, actually, you're correct. But the problem is that can be easily solved by looking at the trend data, the panel data. And then you have models already in terms of estimating the possible supply projection, which are actually validated and proven by econometrician and statistics. That's the way it should be done. It is not a perfect data system, but in the absence of an alternative data that will, based on sound methodology, what are we going to use? We cannot go to Madam Auring to tell us what needs to be done, di ba? It's not a hula-hula. And that's the reason why you have to go back to that data and strengthen the data system. When I was USEC, I had a regular conversation with PSA. And that's the reason why I think we need to have a basis of our argumentation, because if none, it will be based on vested interest of whoever speaks. Like they're saying that walang sugar shortage, or walang garlic shortage, etc., etc. But on the basis of what? In terms of the garlic.
But what about those claiming that there's shortage? Because for me, we can't deny the fact that there are also people who are fanning fear, fake shortages, etc., for their commercial interest. Hindi natin lalahatin, ano?
Yeah.
But kasi ang problema natin is like I wrote an article. I just finished my column, submitted it for tomorrow, and I was pointing out, does anybody even know what our current stock of material or products are projected and current in all of these agricultural products? Kasi para na lang nabubulaga tayong lahat. Oy, may shortage daw ng asin. Oy, may shortage daw ng bawang. Oy, may shortage daw ng ganito. And some of them, Fermin, are congressmen na who have data, etc. So parang maniniwala ba ako dito o hindi?
Yeah. We have done a data on the fishery stocks. And if you see the secular trend, as far as the capture fishery should open sea, since the beginning of 2000, the catch is really declining. And for the main reason that because we have exhausted our natural resources or depleted our coastal resources. And that's not just a local phenomena, it's a global phenomena. Kaya nga may save the seas, etc. Ang tumataas na production are the aquaculture, the captured fish, the aquaculture and mariculture.
Yeah.
That's where we should be investing our resources in order to be able to fill up the gap in terms of a marine capture or yung open sea capture.
Yung floating fish cages, which I have been writing about for so long.
Well, talagang kulang talaga tayo sa capture fisheries. And that's the
Okay.
reason why we are allowing importations of mackerel because of the fact that it's being used for canned sardines. And that's the one eaten mostly by the poor, particularly during relief operations.
Yeah.
Ganun po
Okay.
yun. Pero the others, hindi tayo pinapapasok.
Let me go to AD Fermin. Ano? AD, I just noticed something while I was listening to Fermin. And also when I was viewing your videos, you have tons of eggplants in your farm. I didn't see the other products that you were producing. I'm wondering, bakit hindi nagkaka-shortage ng ampalaya? Bakit hindi nagkaka-shortage ng talong o ng gulay? And yet, it is the sugar, the garlic, the onion, the condiments that people claim there is a shortage. What are we missing here?
Yung mga shortage na yan, like Sir Fermin said, yung pag nag-claim na may shortage, dapat mayroong backing ng data. Mahirap paniwalaan yung mga ganyong data kung talaga namang hindi rin natin nakikita yung source o wala tayong pinag-agreehan na source. Now, your question about eggplant, hindi naman kami tunay-tunilada pa. But mahaba pang backstory yan kung bakit nasa eggplant production kami. But the gist of what I'm doing for the last 12 years is being on the front end of the production, being a farmer myself. I used to be a career microfinance practitioner. Nag-shift kami 12 years ago to microfinance, to farming. Kasi we want to see and not only talk about it, we want to experience kung what is really the struggle on the front end of the production. Now, with regards to eggplant is common. May season yan. Yung ngayon, ito panahon natin, talagang marami ang production ng talong. Kaya bumababa yung price. Sabi nga ni Sir Fermin in one of your interviews, we are a market-based economy. At nakakatakot yun in a high population country na we don't have a way of handling or believing our own data. We don't have a valid or parang unified agreed source ng data. Kaya yung mga policies natin ay hindi database kundi personality-based or politician-based, kung saan humiihip ang hangin, doon tayo magdidesisyon, kung sino yung nakaupo, anong kanyang gustong gawin, na-highlight tuloy yung mga disconnect. One major disconnect natin is structure natin sa Department of Agriculture. From national to regional office, meron pa yung direct linkages, yung programs ay flowing, data gathering. Pagdating sa province, disconnected na yan. You need a liaison section para pa mag-liaison yung regional office to the provincial office. Now, that's very dangerous.
Okay.
We want to rely. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait a minute, D.A. That's a good point you're raising, the disconnect, because that's another suggestion I made in the column that, okay, first, let's do an audit. Ano ba talaga ang nasa merkado? Ano yung, what's in the farms? What is programmed for planting, etc., and what should be imported? Because I am not anti-importation, but I want importation as a augmentation o suporta lang. Hindi dapat yung maging platform of agriculture. But I mentioned there, Sir Fermin, that we need to bring back the farm extension workers because when I go around the country with BMEG, na nagtuturo ako ng mga maling gawa sa pagbababoy, ang unang tinatanong ko, sino nagtuturo dito ng agricultural technology, etc., etc.? One out of two, merong farm extension worker. Yung isa wala. Yung kumbaga sa mga munisipyo. And when I dug further, it turns out that farm extension workers became the domain of mayors and governors. Wala na ba kayo niyan dati sa DA, sa Department of Agriculture directly under you, Yusek Fermin? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I will quickly, go through the issues.
Okay.
Let's go back to the sinkhole. We are in a sinkhole. Tama si Mr. Alvarez. Kasi yung population growth natin just outstrip the agricultural productivity. When we reach 80 million or 85 million, that's the time that importation became heavy. If you look at the trend, nung dumating tayo 80-85 million, ang laki na ng importation natin. Secondly, yung issue nga na structural, may disconnect na sinasabi siya. Kasi because of the local government code of 1991, we have devolved or decentralized all the extension workers. So lahat yan nasa LGUs. And the extension work is a primary function of the LGUs. Wala magagawa po ang Department of Agriculture. The role of the Department of Agriculture is to conduct research and then train the extension workers or train the trainers. Ganun po. Pag hindi priority, if the LGU does not prioritize agricultural development, then the whole thing, falls apart. Ganun na nangyayari. But we cannot have any sanction because, for example, if you notice even dun sa health, if Cebu wants to remove the mask, you cannot do anything. So ganun po that is a problem. But the problem is that all the blame, pag nagka-problema, Department of Agriculture.
Yung national office lagi.
LGUs. Ang third issue why we're going to sinkhole is because of this protracted implementation of Agrarian Reform Program. Napakaliit na po ng lupa, less than a hectare. So no matter what subsidy the government gives, it cannot really provide a decent income to the farmers kung less than a hectare yung sinasaka mo. And finally, there was an ironic observation made by one of the central bank members before, was saying that we actually depended or relied on our food security to grade 5 students, to our farmers who reach grade 5 level or not even elementary graduates. So how can you solve the problem of food security with that kind of setup?
Fermin, we'll go for a quick break just for some plugs. And when we come back, AD, let's pick up on this discussion kasi at least kung hindi tayo makaabot sa Kongreso, magtayo tayo ng sarili nating Kongreso dito. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. And our topic for today is, do we have an agricultural sinkhole or not? And joining us are former Undersecretary of Agriculture Fermin Adriano and agricultural farm advocate Adriel Alvarez. Okay, so Fermin, you were addressing the key issues about the agricultural sinkhole regarding shortages. You raised the issue of the impact of the local government code essentially wiping out our farm extension worker program. And last but not the least was the agrarian reform. Now, we know all our problems. What are our solutions, gentlemen? I'll start with you, Fermin.
Yeah. The solution is, for the last one, we need to encourage farm consolidation. This is not a consolidation of land possession or land ownership. This is a consolidation of production. That means farmers will have to be convinced that there should be a production schedule for their operations. Just like what happened in Vietnam or in China or in Thailand. It is not land property consolidation, but just production scheduling properly so that we can put the necessary or provide the necessary irrigation, etc., machineries. It's much easier for government to extend the services. Secondly, I think we need to make our LGUs accountable. Let's have a report card. If they're given 235 billion in our estimates as a result of the Mandanas-Garcia ruling, give them a target to achieve. If not, I think that era should be taken away or reduced. Because if they don't do their jobs, which is, by the way, their primary jobs are the delivery of basic services, we should be able to penalize them. And thirdly, as Mr. Alvarez is doing, you need a lot of technology support, information dissemination, training for our farmers. Because the battle now in agriculture is not about land. It's neither about machines or something like that. The battle now in agriculture is technology. And studies have shown that the highest return to agriculture is investment in research and technology.
Okay.
That's the battleground right now.
Yeah, AD, what as a farmer and as an agriculture advocate, what are your thoughts or solutions?
I think it begins primarily on the psyche. Sadly, wala tayong attitude as a Filipino to evaluate ourselves whether we're still doing things wrong or right, effective ba yung ginagawa natin o tama. Hindi mayabang tayo. We have this pride na okay na kami. We're doing okay. Kahit hindi. When you go to successful agriculture-based economy, they always evaluate kung tama yung ginagawa nila and they improve. So, the psyche, it begins with the psyche. So, whatever solution makakam up mo, ay pag ayos yung psyche mo, ayos din yung solution. Now, going specifically on agriculture, we need to create that agro ecosystem. We don't have that in the Philippines. What do I mean by the agro ecosystem? Apat yung component niyan. One, farmers should earn. Pag hindi kumikita ang farmers, uunti ang farmers, tatanda ang farmers, walang bagong farmers. Hindi kumikita eh. Okay. Who will get involved in agriculture? Yan yung ating magpapakain sa atin. Problema na yun. Second, wala tayong insurance industry that focuses on agriculture. So, syempre, it goes naturally with the third component. Walang mag-i-invest. Walang bangko na magre-risk. Kahit may batas tayo, ang gagaling natin gumawa ng batas. We have an agri-agra law that is just not implemented because naturally, banks will not risk. Pag walang insurance component, palpak po yung ating crop insurance, agri-insurance. When I talk about food system insurance, hindi lang yung nagtatanim. Kasi huwag natin sisihin lang yung, sabi mo nga, yung import ay hindi rin yan totally masama. Ganon din yung mga middleman natin, hindi yan masama kasi sila yung nagdi-deliver ng ating food from producer to consumer. Now, ang fourth component na napakahalaga is yung market linkages, dapat bantayan. Mahilig tayo sa mga kadiwa, showcase. It doesn't solve the problem because the policies ay napaka-liberated on the market linkages. Bakit? Paano ko nasabi yun? Dahil wala nga insurance, hindi kumikita yung farmer, tapos wala nagpa-finance. Yun yung nagkikreate ng sinkhole, yung market linkages. Ang pumapabor palagi dahil di natin binabantayan. Lalo na sa market-based economy, dapat double time kasi hindi nga tayo socialist economy. Dapat double time pagbabantay na hindi pumapabor ang income ng delivery system ng mga middleman or middle section ng food system versus sa income ng farmer. Dapat mas malaki yung farmer. Kasi sila yung nagpo-produce eh. Pag hindi na sila nag-produce, wala na i-deliver.
Fermin, can you respond to that point that was raised by AD? Because I get the impression, sa palagay ko, no, parang wala kanya-kanya tayo, subsistence. In your experience or during your stint at the Department of Agriculture, did you get any idea what is the percentage of genuine commercial farms in the Philippines in relation to the agricultural lands that are available? Kasi parang ang sinasabi ni AD, sige, magtanim ka ng palaya, magtatanim ako ng talong, tapos magkita-kita na lang tayo sa palengke. Pagaling sa palengke, babaratin kami, pagkatas ang kikita yung biyahero, etc., etc. Pero I'm saying, do we actually have commercial farms in the Philippines? And in percentage, what percent are they of the picture?
I will directly respond to that. There are few and far between because of agrarian reform. It's difficult for businessmen to engage in relatively big commercial operations because the hectareage ceiling is 5 for married couple and 3 for their kids. So it's quite difficult to consolidate. So in other words, you have a lot of problem consolidating. If I were a businessman, my knee-jerk reaction, I will just go to the banks and buy treasury warrants or something like that. But what's the point? Or stocks. No? Wala problema. Di pa ako hihinga ng mga nasa baba, etc., etc. I will indirectly respond to that in the way that the entire DA, almost, the operations of DA is based on dole-outs operation. It's so focused on production orientation. Okay? Wala yung sinasabi mo market linkage, although there is a, sabi-sabi, kadiwa, ganon, but it's a very tiny operations of the entire operation. So if
parang pang photo op lang?
Oo nga, yun nga.
Press release and photo op agriculture.
So, palagi kong naha-high blood nga doon sa mga aking colleagues. When I was there, I was telling them, where is our private sector engagement? Because we're in a market economy. Why are we so focused on fertilizer dole-out, seed dole-out, farm machinery dole-out, etc., every cash assistance? What is the measure of success, as Mr. Alvarez was saying? The measure of success, as far as the DA is concerned, is the distribution of these dole-outs. It has nothing to do with measuring whether the income of the farmers rises. Diba?
AD, a quick question lang, AD. May natanggap ka ba ng mga dole-out na yan? Machinery, fertilizer, loans, seeds?
I'm against that kasi like I said, ang background ko is microfinance.
No. I'm just asking because you have an operation. So one would think that in your area merong agriculture officer or kasama ka sa data gathering. So if Fermin is right, then it would make sense that someone in government will go to you and say, "Boss, meron kaming pamimigay sa inyo."
Most of the time I'm excluded. I'm excluded because hindi ako yung maliit eh. Hindi ako yung maliit na farmer. At hindi nga masasabing farmer yun eh. This is not to criticize our land workers, ano? Pero sabi nga ng isang quote sa Amerika, if you're doing planting without an economic agenda, you're simply gardening. You're not farming. Kasi farming should have an economic agenda. Kasi hindi mo masusustain yun eh. Ang nangyayari dito sa pinamimigay, itong response na lang ako doon, Sir Cito, no? Yung pamimigay, it doesn't fix the problem. It will actually heighten the false narrative na a farmer is doing okay kasi makakabenta siya. Hindi eh. Na pinrases lang yung dole out at binenta, minsan lugi pa. Akala ng farmer, meron akong pera sa bulsa, pero actually, na-convert lang yung donate sa kanya pero hindi siya tumaas yung income. Hindi siya nag-income. It doesn't fix the problem. Farmers should earn.
Okay.
So, sila yung nasa front end.
Fermin, when government, politicians, technocrats talk about agriculture sector, the industry, etc., our point of comparison are foreign countries, Western countries, Western farms. What is the definition, the global definition of a farm in terms of data, in terms of policies? Ilang acres ba or hectares ang pinag-uusapan for you to be officially considered owning a farm? Kasi I used to say, I have a farm in Lipa. And then one morning, it dawned upon me, I only have about 5,000 square meters or half a hectare. Sabi ko, teka, backyard lang yun yung kaibigan ko sa Amerika o sa Belgium. Bakuran lang niya yun. So I just kind of say now, I have a place in Lipa. Hindi ko na masabing farm kasi nakakahiya nang sabihin, you have a farm. I have friends who have 1 or 2 hectares. Farm pa ba yun o garden?
Well, it really depends on the commodity that you're producing there because there's a economically sustainable, a viable area for certain crops. Obviously, for example, if you're planting vegetables, which is a high value crop, 1 hectare, for example, strawberry would give you a lot of money or cabbage or something like that.
Hindi. Pero kung square meter or land area,
that's gardening.
Gardening.
Depende nga sa sa crop na the definition depends on whether it can economically become sustainable operation. Yung sinasabi nga Mr. Alvarez. Obviously sa rice, pag 1 hectare ka, 2 hectares ka, wala mangyayari sa iyo dyan because it's a low value crop. So the analysis that economists are saying is that at least for rice, you have to have 10 hectares. For coconut, it has to be 20 hectares. And for sugar, because of the competition, about 50 hectares. So may ganun eh. It depends on the nature of the crop.
Am I right to say, do I have a right to say now that all these discussions and so-called programs of agriculture is mythical or fictional?
The programs are really meant to, as I said, dole outs nga eh. And then the dole out system operates within our political system. So if you have farm machineries, you have to go through LGUs. If you have cash assistance, the congressmen or congresswoman are there. So that's the way it is. And it's good photo opportunity that you're helping the farmers, as Mr. Alvarez said. But in the final analysis, it does not raise their welfare.
So parang build. Sasabihin may infrastructure programs pero lahat ang gumawa MVP group of companies, San Miguel, Ayala, hindi ginawa ng gobyerno pero
I have an extreme example Cito. In fact, during our management committee, I told them, why don't we just close the DA and just give the money of the budget to the DA to all our farmers based on a list? I think we will the farmers will be better because they will have a higher income.
AD.
It's a very radical idea, but if you look at it even sa crop insurance, when they administered a 1 peso crop insurance, the admin cost, 36 centavos. So I was telling them, bakit hindi na lang natin bigay yung 1 peso in 36 and close down the Philippine crop insurance? At least naka-gain pa yung magsasaka ng 36 centavos.
Okay, AD, can you respond?
Ito nakakatakot. You are comparing it, hindi nakakatakot dahil you're comparing it. We can live without infrastructure ng building, pero we cannot live without food. Fundamental na ayusin natin yung food system natin. Kasi, pag nawalan na tayo ng pagkain, tayo rin we're shooting ourselves on our food. Kasi, talagang pag nabuhay ka, ang basic mong gagawin, kakain. And those who are involved in the food system or food production and nasa front end, sinasabi natin farmer, kasama dyan, kaduktong yan yung mga middleman, lahat ng delivery system. At tanong ko nga, nasaan ang DA dyan? Sabi nga, maganda yung point ni Sir Fermin. Nandun sila para magpa-photo op. Although it's radical, but I understand the language of exaggeration, close na lang ang DA. Pero ganon, urgent yung issue ng pagkain. And I really salute you, Sir Cito, for giving this window. Kasi we need to get this out there before everybody starts to get hungry.
Well, gentlemen, the reason we're having this program right now, or this subject matter, is because I have sensed, and I've written about it, that there is a palpable fear among citizens that we're facing an imminent food crisis.
Cito, I will tell you.
Yes, Fermin.
There is going to be a food crisis by the end of the year, based on the data, the readings of the data. I'll tell you what. For example, rice. We did not apply the right fertilizer so that it will decline by about 1 million metric tons. They do not want to import because of the fact that they have to be self-sufficient. They think about that. We have a problem with pork because the ASF is again a problem. We have a problem with avian flu. We called out about 2 million heads of layers already. So in Minalin, Pampanga. And that avian flu is spreading fast upwards. We have a problem, of course, with sugar now. We all know that. So all in France, onion, for example, we have a problem. And because there is a uncertainty on the importation policy, because it boils down again to the issue of whether we can determine there is a shortage or not. Because nobody wants to believe the PSA data. Diba? Sinasabi lang, we have artificial shortage. But the PSA data keeps on telling us that there is a real shortage. Mm-hmm. So, whom do you follow? So, you're right, this is my bold projection. We're going to have a major food problem by the end of this year because the price will decline, etc. In fact, by October, 2 to 4 pesos ng taas. On top of that, the international trend is not favorable because Vietnam and Thailand are trying to collude, become a cartel to dictate prices. If India, sumama yan, patay tayo. And then China, because of the drought, will be importing a lot. That will tighten the supply of price in the international market.
Okay, we'll go for a quick break, gentlemen. And when we return, babasahin ko rin yung reaction ng one of our viewers in a far-flung area, Rodora Javier, regarding what you have mentioned. We'll be right back after this 2-minute break. Okay, we're back here on agenda. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I just need to read a reaction from Rodora Javier. Good morning. In my experience, there is no farm extension program relevant to our farmers' need right now being done by our barangay LGU. Our farmers rely on traditional practices for fear of failing in new technologies or new system. Why? Kasi most our farmers are still subsistence farmers. Kawawa naman kami sa far-flung barangays. We spend so much just to get our produce to the market. Tama yun. Binabarat lang kami kung dadalhin namin sa malaking market, mahalang transport kaya middlemen take advantage. Most can't do anything na kaysa mabulok ang gulay. How can a farmer have 10 hectares? Meron tayo carplo. Okay, we'll have to haba but anyway, we were talking about many things. Now, DA, your reaction, please.
Me? I'm not DA anymore.
No. DA, AD, sorry. Mali-mali na ako eh. Kasi sabi mo, isara na yung DA eh.
Nagulat ako.
Well, meron pa namang I still preach hope. Meron pa namang pag-asa, but we really have to radically participate. Everybody has to participate. Meaning, kung ikaw ay buyer, huwag ka naman sige patawad ng tawad. Hindi lang naman ikaw nabubuhay sa mundo. Kasi nagta-translate yan dun sa front end sa farmer. Kung ikaw naman yung middleman, makonsensya ka naman. Kung ikaw naman ay kumita, huwag mo naman babaan masyado yung bili mo. Bigyan mo naman ng pagkakataon kumita yung front end. Again, we have to safeguard the front end, the farmers, na sila ay patuloy na magtatanim. Now, yung mga kasama kong farmer, katulad nung Cito na ikaw ay nag-farm din pala. Napakadali na. I have felt so many times in the last 12 years to throw the towel na. It's, my creditors are also complaining na rin. Pero I just have to brave the situation. And that's what farmers do. They brave the situation. Many farmers do. They brave the storm. They continue planting, not knowing whether they will have money on the end of the day. Now, ang nakakainis lang dito, may sasali mga pretending to be helping, but they're not really helping. I would have a proactive suggestion for the day. Instead of doing the kadiwa and doing the, ito na naman tayo, instead of doing the dole-out system, bantayan yung market. Magbigay ng mga basic statistics na, i-advise, huwag kayo masyado magtanim. I think it's small ways that can make something sa grounds. But of course, again, motivated yan kung ang mayor ay agriculturally concerned or not. Ang governor ba ay agriculturally concerned? Talagang nakakalungkot. Pero kailangan pa rin natin magtanong kasi kailangan
should agriculture and all agriculture concerns revert back to the Department of Agriculture and be a national responsibility?
Sa akin, Cito, I think we can work within the system. I've been telling this during my time. There will be glimmer or areas of hope. Let's just look at the dynamic LGUs are concerned. There are about 80 plus of them. If we can just get about 20 of them who are favorable about or supportive of agricultural, let's focus the efforts of the department in this while maintaining our relationship to the rest. Because that's the only way. Because it will take time before you can change the law, di ba? But ang kulatilya nito, kailangan magaling yung regional officer mo, yung regional director mo. The sad thing is that a lot of the regional directors are political appointments. So yun yung pinaka-weak Achilles heel again. That, working with all those LGUs will require a very good regional managers.
Okay. I saw a very good model, Sir Cito, in addressing that. In reaction lang dun sa ganun, yung mga appointees. Sa Iowa, which they have a very good agricultural ecosystem, yung kanilang state secretary for agriculture, hindi siya appointed, elected, binoboto. So, kung siya binoboto, nagpe-perform siya kasi pag hindi siya nag-perform, hindi siya mananalo sa susunod na election. And that's why ang galing ng check and balance.
Fermin, I have a question regarding, kasi ikaw yung nag-suggest that sara na lang yung Department of Agriculture, pamigay na lang yung budget. No? But in all seriousness, if I were to hire the best accounting and auditing firms in the country, and we audited all of the projections, programs, and results of direct actions directly under the DA, relevant to all the money given to it, placed in it. Are we getting a return on investment, or is this just a scam?
We are getting, but at a small amount. Just imagine, tingnan mo na lang to compare it to Thailand. Yung crop varietal improvement. Like for example, we're selling whatever, guava or something. If you look at Thailand, di ba? Guapol ang ganda, makopa ang gaganda. That's a product of research. And we're not doing that. Sugar, anong glass variety o coconut glass variety that we produced to improve the productivity? Wala halos wala di ba? So that's a real problem, is that you have to look at the research and extension at the same time look at the what we call value chain. Yung sinasabi nyo, kasi nakapokus nga sa production. And in the production, that's where you have a lot of dole-outs. Planting material, seeds, fertilizer. But nothing in terms of the value chain, para makadating sa merkado. Ang short response ko dyan, talagang mababa yung return ROI or return on investment.
Poor
agriculture,
ROI.
Ang problem sa agriculture, it is so politicized in this country. You cannot have a good secretary if you don't know your politics.
Okay, but wait a minute. Doesn't the Department of Agriculture have its own programs, planting programs, production programs na sila ang may hawak? Because it would seem to me that that's necessary for any country to make sure they have food security. Whatever the private sector does, bahala kayo, but the government must have these programs, planting, raising, etc. Because when all hell blows up, we will have a fallback.
Mayroong pinagawa niyang public expenditure review on how the DA. First, more than half of the budget of the Department of Agriculture goes to supporting rice production, leaving nothing to other crops. That's the reason why the other crops cannot develop, because there's no support practically. Like for example, corn, 1.4 billion. Fisheries, about 4-5 billion or something like that. That's huge. That's the first problem. The second problem is that if you look at the budget, as you said, programs, it's all commodity production oriented, rice, corn, etc., etc. But when you go to the ground, the farmers are not just planting rice; they plant other things. So may disconnect on. It's all production. It's all go out.
Okay.
Thirdly, if you look at the absorptive capacity of the institution, through about 10 years or something like that, it was only able to spend 70% of their budget compared to the other departments, which is about 80 to 85%. So yun ang mga structural problems natin dyan.
Okay. So AD, we're running out of time. So I'd like to get your key points on what the picture is on the ground, your private sector.
We really need to make money. That's from the ground. The farmers need to make money. The environment, the support structure ng government is not really there to help us make money. So kung doon maumpisan, masusustain natin somehow in time na merong ibebenta yung ating middleman, yung merong ipifinance ang bangko. We have to produce kasi para may makain ng mga tao. You can have the banks, pero kung wala naman nagtatanim, wala tayong kakainin in the end. So we really need to take care of our farmers.
And the people who know what they're doing are not getting the technical, financial support na tinatawag ni Fermin na dole out to the people who don't know.
we farmers don't need dole out really. They need to be making money. Kasi if they are making money, they can buy their own fertilizer. They can buy their own seeds. They know what to do. They can learn. They can study. They can go anywhere.
Okay.
If they're not making money, they're atakihin talaga sila ng dole outs. And kakapit sa patalim eh. Anong gagawin mo kung wala ka ng kapital na pantanim? So kahit hindi maganda yung seeds na pinamimigay, tatanggapin mo na lang just to get season.
Yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We've gone over time, and at least we have put light on this very serious problem. Year of the end of the year, food shortage. Have a good day. God bless both of you. Thank you for joining us here on Agenda.
Thank you for inviting us, Cito. God bless.
Okay. And now we close the program with a blessing out of 1 Chronicles chapter 4 verses 9 to 10. Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. His mother named him Jabez and said, I gave birth to him in pain. Jabez called out to the God of Israel, if only you would bless me, extend my border, let your hand be with me and keep me from harm, so that I will not cause any pain. And God granted this request. May the Lord grant your request. Bless you today. Thank you for watching Agenda, and please keep it here on One News PH.